Well, it's now official that 714 method is the best strategy I'm using currently. Because just imagine, I actually have a lot of trades loading just below this zone right here for price to pick. Because I wanted this support zone right here to handle it. But the 714 method just said that no, until I get played out, no trade is or nothing is actually going past me, right? So you can see that the trade on the 714 method has moved marvelously. Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So yet again another week, let's use the 714 method. Obviously you already know how it goes. Now I promise you, this chart that you are seeing currently, right, this chart that you are just looking at currently is not about the 714 method. Trust me, it's not about the 714 method. I had this analysis way before the 714 method even started, right? But let's look at obviously what we are having. So with the 714 method, let's go ahead and turn this on. Obviously, you realize that we are in a downtrend, so we are looking forward for an upward move, right? Don't mind this. This is not really part of the 714 method, right? So we are looking forward for an upward move. Now we already know that the 714 method will use three things: support and resistance, fair value gap, and an order block. That's the three things that we use to do what? Execute our trades. Now obviously when you look at this push all the way back down, the trend, this whole current trend, the only thing that we have is this order block right here, and at the same time this support and resistance zone right there. So there's really no fair value gap for you to use, only this support and resistance and this order block. So today with the 714 method, if you are really going to trade, you would have already been in this trade around this zone right there, because that right there is the last what order block. But obviously you know that there's a very huge support zone just below this level. So maybe, just maybe, even if you were executing a trade here, your stop loss should have really just at least gone below. You wouldn't have used mine if you want, but probably just below this zone right here would have actually been enough. But yes, that should have just been the 714 method. I know this is quite weird, but yes, this is what you needed with the 714 method, and you're probably targeting this high right here. I'm sorry, this high right here as your TP level right now. By looking at the bigger time frame, I obviously think price is going to drop. I've told you guys I have a visual thing that I use. It's just a visual. Remember, always I say this, it's just a visual. It's not a strategy, it's just a visual. It helps me determine whether the trend is going to relax or the trend is going to pump. So if it looks like this, this shows a decline in price movement. So it has to drop, it has to drop back down, right? But most of the times it's not really just going to drop like that. There's usually just a retracement, a little bit of a drop, a push, so that a lot of buyers will come into the market and the main drop will now come in, right? So obviously when you look at this zone right here, you see the push, buyers came in, the retracement happened. What happened right here? A push all the way up, another buyers came in before the main drop. So it doesn't normally really drop that easily, but yes, sometimes it does. So when you see this, it shows what price is just trying to drop, or that is a decline, right? It doesn't necessarily mean price will drop a lot, but that is a decline, meaning buyers are refusing or buyers are reducing. Now when you see this type of move as well, that shows that an increase. So it also means there's a lot of buyers in the market and price will shoot. This is just a visual. It's a visual that I use. Please don't take it seriously and go ahead doing unnecessary stuff. So yes, this is what I see from this zone. I see a decline, so there's a high chance price to drop. But with the 714 method, we'll probably be looking forward to executing our trades within this zone. Maybe stop loss below this, but your stop loss should have just actually been below this level right here, and that would have been good. But because of this support zone right here, the stop loss being around here is quite valid and quite good as well. So yes, that is just what I'm looking at. Now with this trade also, I look at this trend line right here, or this trend movement right here. You can see that we're having a consolidation. And I just use the most common thing that this whole consolidation is having, which is this resistance zone right here. So because I know price will shoot down, there's a high chance that we have a rejection from this zone back up, so that a lot of buyers will come into the market before they shoot all the way back down. Now, I don't really think price might get here, but if we get there, that's obviously good, because that is the high for all the TP level for this trade right here, which is 1:5. Now, all these trades that I have here, their TP levels are 1:5. You might think it's quite different because this is here and I'm obviously targeting this. That is still 1:5. So the SL will determine your TP level. So if the SL is 594, the 1:5 of that TP should be around 297 thereabouts, right? So yes, it's all 1:5. But yes, with the 714 method, you could have executed your trade here. Stop loss goes below this or just a little bit below this zone right here, and you are good to go. That was it. Now, maybe I'll execute a trade with the 714 method. I'll probably not use a bigger loss size, to be honest. So let's say 0.4 with a 714 method, because I just want to see how it's going to go, right? I just want to show you guys, because I'm already having trades and I'm already having something in mind what I'm going to do. But I just want to show you guys how it's done with the 714 method. So we are currently having a very nice push. This right here indicates a very good price movement. But yes, of course, this is the last level you should have executed your trade from, and probably just target this high right there. That is it with the 714 method. So I want to see if we get a little bit of a retracement. So I execute the trade with the 714 method here. This is going to make my chart very bulky, but all right, there's no problem with that. So let's see what happens. Let me see if I can actually mark this, so that I'll just set the entry right there. It might be in a drawdown. I don't really like it's being in a drawdown. So let's say if the drawdown is quite huge, a little over um, $200, I'm going to reduce the trade, because under normal circumstance, this is where I want price to not take out, right? So this should have been the trade just around this zone right here, but because this is the stop loss, or this is a range of resistance, we use either support and resistance or fair value gap or another block. So this right here should have also been where you target for price not to get through. I don't really like this becoming really bulky like this. I don't like that. But yes, it's a little bit over $200. So I'm reducing this. I'm reducing that until we have about just 150 thereabouts. Is all right. So let's see. All right. So 150 is all right. So this is what you are doing. I just want to execute this basically because of the 714 method, not because of any strategy or any trade that I want to use actually. So yeah, this is all right. So we can also see that even though this chart is quite noisy, let me just take these things out so that you guys can see this. So we can also see that price has obviously given us a change of character here on the 5-minute time frame. This is a break, right? Very nice. So there's a high chance that if price did not pick any trades within this zone and it eventually shoots up into this level, coming back down, we might not pick this trace again. We might just push through it. So that is also something you should note. Whenever price escapes your level, just like BTC, price escapes it escaped my execution on BTC just this afternoon. I wasn't really happy about that. So as you can see, price did not pick my trade. I ended up making it a little bit far, so price did not pick it. This did not take it. Even this right here did not take it, and we ended up dropping. And I'm not really happy about that either. But yes, Euro USD is currently shooting. I've already taken all the TPs that I executed around here, all the trades that I executed. I've taken those TPs. I just added this trade when we were reversing back. So it's only this trade. I did not really think this trade right here would have shot back down to the zone. But after this push, I think we might, right? I think we might. But I'm already out of those trades. So let's look at gold. So gold has eventually taken the trade on the 714 method, right? Now I've said it, the 714 method, this should have been your execution. Let's just take this aside. So the 714 method, this should have been your execution. stop loss should have actually been below this zone right here, but because I don't really want price to take my trade or use me as what inducement, right? Or use me as inducement, even if I'm executing the trade on the 714 method here, I should probably think of my stop loss being around this zone right there, and the TP, of course, the last high, which is just around this zone right here. So yeah, this is what should have actually happened. Now I did make a video on this, and I'll have to end this video as well to go and talk about adding a trade on this, because on the video that I was making on this, I did not really add a trade right here. This was just the trade that I wanted price to take, and losing about 2k thereabout on this. But the funny thing is, if you are losing 2k on this, the TP that you are going to get will probably mm, catch up with all these trades that you're executing around this range right there. So yeah, this should have been the 714 method, a stop loss just below, but there's a lot of liquidities and a lot of resistance below this. So avoiding it is the best. So yeah, this is what happens. So I have to actually see if I can name these two. I don't know. So I wanted to use something to just write on it at least, so that it wouldn't mingle with my trade. So 714. All right, so this is the 714 trade right there, and this right here is my normal execution trade, which is this trade right here. So see, I have a lot of trades. I have a lot of trades currently right there.
A few moments later.
All right, so I had to cancel the trades that I actually had around this zone right here very, very fast, because I've already said it. If price is able to take out this high without retesting this support zone, I'm not really going to execute a trade within this zone again. But obviously, you can see that the 714 method has moved quite naturally, right? It has moved according to plan. That is how the 714 method is. It's a good strategy, right? When you execute, it goes. Now, most of the times, we do get a very good price movement, and it will continue to push all the way up. But in the normal circumstance, if the trend is about to reverse or something, even though the 714 method will still give a good trade, but it might not really push that far right. But I want you to take a look at whatever happened just right now. There was a problem. What was the problem? Now, even though the 714 method moved marvelously, right? This trace that I kept here, it did not pack it right. That is not the problem. The problem is I executed only one trade. I've told you guys several times, if you are going to execute a trade, execute two. Now that the TP was actually met, I could have still be holding one trade for price to just play around, and we'll see whether price is going to continue up or drop back down. Now, if you're actually just going to follow the 714 method, the rules of the 714 method, without actually following what I did. So hold on, let me show you this. So this right here was the second entries right there. So this is the 714 method. Your stop loss should have actually been here, but because I was worried about this resistance zone, that's why I kept my stop loss right there. Even though it has moved in profit and it was nice, I just want us to calculate something. Now price is almost back at that low, and I don't really want price to take this trade because I don't really want it to be a mistake, right? So for you to understand your risk to reward ratio, you need to have a what? A trade. You need to have a trade to understand your risk to reward ratio. It doesn't mean you have to execute the trade, but you just need to have a trade. So if we were risking this, just below the 714 method was what you needed to do. So around $83, just right there, right? So where did we target? We target the last high, which is probably just around $300, about this high right here. So what is that risk to reward ratio of what we just got? I don't really want price to keep being here until it drops all the way back down and take me out of the trade, right? But that's not the problem. So what is our risk to reward ratio? Because if we are risking $83, then we are making $300. So that's just quite about 1:3, right? So 1:3 risk to reward. So that risk to reward was nice. That was 1:3. We're risking 83 to make 300 and what $1. So yes, that's still a very good risk to reward ratio. But what I was risking was quite large, because around this zone that wouldn't have actually been, that would have just been 1:2. Probably not even up to 1:2, right? But yes, that is what happened. The 714 method, I've said it countless times, is one of the best strategies that I use. Even though nowadays I don't really make videos on it, but it's still one of the best strategies that you can use as a trader, not just a beginner. Every single trader is one of the best strategies. So remember, always execute two trades. After first TP is gone, you can hold on just to see where price will go. If you have a retracement, you can get out of the trade. If there's no retracement, you can hold on to that trade, and price will continue shooting all the way up. Now, I'm just quite angry that I did not execute a much more bigger trade, because if I was executing that same trade loss size with the 714 method around this zone right here, I would have actually made about 300 and $3,200, right? That would have been quite substantial. But because I just wanted you guys to see how the 714 method works, that is why I executed a smaller size.